Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes. There's a lot to break down here. One, obviously, the idea is to make this as humane as possible. And in the majority opinion, they said that because they have a choice as to which method, it can't be considered cruel. What do you make of the opinion there and what we heard?
I think that opinion opens the door for a number of things, but you got to start with a couple of things. First, that our Constitution requires that. So that cruel and unusual punishment, even when we're talking about death. I practice homicide cases, capital cases all day, cases where folks are facing the death penalty. And in these cases, they are not easy to talk about. So you have to start with that there. And while I totally agree with the victim and the victim's daughter, where there's an individual that is passed and they didn't decide how they wanted to pass, our Constitution requires that even after something as horrific as that we don't use an inhumane manner to even go and punish a person or to put them to death. And so the judge saying that because you have a choice to choose, the only issue I could say, which I think opens the door for appeal, is that now you're saying, well, what if all three are inhumane? So his rationale, his reasoning, even though I agree that you have a constitutional right in your state, if South Carolina has allowed it to happen there, to choose death. By writing the words that because you have a choice means it can't be inhumane, I don't think that logic follows, because all three could be inhumane. While I'm not saying one is inhumane or not, it opens the door for an appeal, at least for the Supreme Court to give an opportunity to listen to it, for the prosecutor, for the plaintiffs to say, well, you know what if all three are inhumane? And at least that conversation could happen.
Do you ever see this crossing the border into North Carolina?
I don't think so. I mean, what I can tell you is if you look at the numbers, there's a downtrend in terms of death penalties across the country, first of all. South Carolina, at the time, they had 60 plus. Now they're down to 30. I mean, the COVID really with making access to getting the lethal injection, that was kind of threw a curveball to everyone. So states were kind of scrambling. You came up with firing squads in South Carolina. People were really trying to find like innovative ways to carry out their death penalty cases. But also you had a number of novel appeals. And so even if something like this does come to North Carolina, which we do have the death penalty in our state, I don't see the question of the manner in which they have a choice being an issue here, because again, it's just something that's not really brought up in our state as often as some of the other states like Texas, for instance.
As far as determining which ways are inhumane, obviously we've seen problems with lethal injection there, but when it comes to firing squad and electric chair, how do they go about determining where's the fine line between what's inhumane and what's humane?
One of the dissenting judges, I think, did it best. He said, look, this is a novel. The firing idea was novel. Firing squad idea was novel. It was something that we thought of that we've never used. It's already been an opportunity to use. But he said, because this is novel and you don't know like the method in which it will be carried out, you don't know the accuracy of the shooters, there's so many unknowns. And that was, he agreed with plaintiff's contention that this is setting us up for failure. In terms of the electrical chair thing, it's just because it's a 105-year-old chair, a chair that, you know, hasn't kind of evolved with technology. Lethal injection out of the three seems to be the most humane, except for when you look at a lot of the tests and the studies that have been done around this, the medication, when it's induced, sometimes it doesn't kill the person, and sometimes it causes a long duration of pain, not anticipated. Again, I know not something that a person that's a victim of this wants to hear, but that is the process in terms of trying to find a humane way of carrying out a death sentence.